Hi, and welcome to Yo-Yo Talk. I've got a lot of interesting stuff to go over with you tonight. I am watching live and in the chat, but I had to pre-record tonight because Sean, my producer, has the flu or perhaps Ebola. Whatever it is, I don't want it. So he remains in quarantine. But sometimes it's more fun for me being in the live chat so I can trash talk folks. So three things this show you're going to see that you want to stay tuned for. And perhaps the most important I'm going to lead with, and I've been promising for a couple of months now to show you this photo, which has changed everything I thought about the Flores Duncan transition, including how much Duncan paid Flores for the yo-yo trademark. Also, we have a little segment when I did some trading with Dano the Mano. He brought in some cool yo-yos, and you'll want to see those and a few that you probably won't want to see. And finally, everything you wanted to know about the 2024 National Yo-Yo Championships, but were afraid to ask. You may think it's just for superstars, but it is not. Anybody that is into the yo-yo world should be going to the national championships this year in Philadelphia, and I'll fill you in on all the cool stuff happening with nationals with an interview with Hall of Famer Andre Boulay, who is the co-director of the national championships this year. Okay, before we get into the stuff, I want to do a couple little short shout outs to, first of all, Voltaire for all his sage advice. And I'm very happy to say he picked up a couple of yo-yos that I recommended. If you have not seen my hunting for yo-yos with Doc Lucky on the eBay, it's a little segment I put out. I'm going to start doing this, I think, once a month, where I go on eBay and I just look around and tell folks what I think about the different yo-yos, do a little history on some of them, point out some good buys and a couple of dogs, things like that. And it's just kind of fun to kind of go through eBay with other folks watching. And I know a few people have said the advice helped them a lot when they were looking at those yo-yos and couldn't quite decide. There was a yo-yo I picked up, which I was not sure was real or not. I saw it when I was actually doing that little segment. It was a Duncan Super Yo-Yo that didn't have a stripe. I had not seen a stripeless Super before. I think they made some in the reproductions, but not in the originals. And I thought, well, maybe it's been repainted. But folks, now that I have it in hand, it is the real deal. So we can add another yo-yo in that Super series that can be collected, and it is a rare one. So I am a very happy camper that I picked it up, and I got it at a pretty good price as well. Also, I wanted to show you this photo sent in from Canada Jack. He was kind enough to share his old sweater with some of his award patches from the National Yo-Yo Company out of Canada. National owned the yo-yo trademark in Canada from 1968 to 1978. That's when they sold the trademark to Parker Brothers. All right, I'm going to show you that amazing photo that I've discovered and also talk a little bit about how much Duncan paid Flores for the Flores yo-yo trademark. Here we go. So I recently discovered a photo that blew my mind like a cherry bomb in a gourd. It is about the early history of the Duncan yo-yo. And if you're a bandolorist, that's somebody who collects yo-yos, you are probably familiar with the story of Duncan buying the Flores yo-yo trademark in 1930. So here's the setup for the story. Don Duncan started his own line of yo-yos, the Oh Boy, in 1929. And it's always been implied in interviews from Duncan that he did not really know Pedro Flores, and his only interaction with Flores was buying his yo-yo trademark, and then subsequently Duncan made the little known Filipino toy into a household word. Pretty straightforward. However, as Columbo might say, just one more thing.
Oh, listen, just one more thing.
But before we do a deep detective dive, I want to let you know, As a bonus, at the end of this video, I am going to give you the definitive answer of how much Duncan paid Pedro Flores for the trademark Flores yo-yo. Yes, I have definitively discovered the amount. Over the years, we've heard numbers ranging from $5,000 to $300,000, which in today's dollars would have the buying power of hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. Matter of fact, George Somera, an original Duncan demonstrator, who was the brother of Hall of Famer Gus Somera, said in a 1976 interview for the book The Mature Person's Guide to Kites, Yo-Yos, Frisbees, and Other Childlike Diversions, he was quoted as saying, Duncan was very generous to Pedro Flores and gave him $25,000 for the trademark rights. But that is not correct, so keep watching. In that very same book, this photo appeared, which is part of a Duncan marketing campaign from 1932, and it also appears in Malco's book, The One and Only Yo-Yo. Malco's version shows some of the cast members of Our Gang, that's AKA the Little Rascals, which was a hugely popular short film series created by Hal Roach. It started in the silent era in 1922 and ran until 1944. So you're like over 2 decades these films were made, and they made over 220 of them. And reruns of these films continue on TV to this day, and you can even see them on the internet if you look them up. And in the 1930 film, Bear Shooters, the yo-yo appears.
Hello, Mary. How are you?
Fine, good.
I'm gonna be good to you from now on. Now, you want my yo-yo?
What I have to do for this?
Well, you see, me and the gang, we got some important business we've got to attend to, and I thought maybe you'd take care of Weezer for me.
No, I won't. I know. You're going camping and I'm going.
Now, in this photo, we see our gang members, Spud, Weezer, Farina, Joe, the dog Pete the pup, Gene, and the politically incorrect Chubby, which we would now likely call Fluffy or maybe Stocky. Actually, depending on whatever the country you're in, you might even call him Skinny now. You might notice there are 2 overweight actors, which is important, and I'll explain that in a minute. Now, it's clear that the cast are all holding yo-yos, and in front you can see an early display box of the Duncan Yo-Yo Company, which is extremely rare. Here's a later colorized version from a magazine article. Now, a complete mint box of gold seal yo-yos would be valued in probably the $1,500 to $3,000 range, or a trade for a firstborn son. Well, I've done and rocked the politically incorrect vote again. I should have said a firstborn son or a firstborn daughter, but my omission actually could mean daughters are considered more worthy than a firstborn son in a trade, or perhaps less. I'll let the woke activists battle it out on what I meant. However, I've never seen a complete box, so it's a moot point, so don't cancel me. Anyway, a cool photo which demonstrates, in historians' mind, the first real yo-yo craze occurred in 1932, largely due to the marketing genius of Don Duncan Sr., making the obscure Filipino toy famous after acquiring the trademark, and the rest is history. However, this is not how it went down. And with this photo I'm showing you right now, I discovered this is the Rosetta Stone in the translation of the Flores yo-yo to the Duncan yo-yo. When I first saw this photo, I thought, oh my God, they took 2 photos the same day and we've never seen this one. And here's the shocker. Now look close at the boxes. Those aren't Duncan gold seal yo-yos as in the first photo. These are Flores yo-yo oh boys. The Duncan's first yo-yo was a Flores yo-yo with the Duncan brand oh boy. The name Duncan didn't even appear on the yo-yo, so no wonder Duncan coveted the trademark Flores yo-yo. He was having to sell his oh boys as Flores yo-yo oh boys. So, when were these photos taken? Surely not 1932. Oh boys were released in 1929. Now, here's where Joe and Chubby become important. Looking close at the photo, you can see Chubby has his name on the yo-yo. It turns out that Joe, who was cast as the fat kid star in the silent film era, couldn't make the cut for the talkies. And his replacement, Chubby, was cast, and this happened in 1929. They appeared in one film together in 1929, Boxing Gloves. This would also coincide with the release of the Duncan Oh Boy, or should I say, the Flores Yo-Yo Oh Boy in 1929. So these two guys in this picture were together only for that brief period of time in 1929. Duncan clearly didn't start the first yo-yo craze. It was in full bloom when he released his yo-yo. He jumped on a wave that was already engulfing the country. Now, I'm not going to take away the brilliance of Duncan for his recognizing the potential of the yo-yo or later marketing skills, but the suggestion that Duncan was responsible for the first yo-yo craze or making it a household name is a little bit disingenuous. So, if the photos were taken the same day, but with different angles and different yo-yo display boxes, which were years apart, how the heck did that happen? Photoshop, baby. Well, not really, but the concept is the same. Negatives were edited. You can see the Duncan gold seal boxes were placed over the Flores boxes, the 1932 edited photo. The edited print was the only photo Duncan used for his future marketing campaigns. Now, it turns out there's an exact print of the newly discovered Flores Yo-Yo Oh Boy image, and it's a snapshot in the Flores scrapbook, suggesting Flores may have even been there for the photo shoot. The thought that Duncan didn't know Flores is also bogus. In 1930, Pedro Flores, who was still doing yo-yo promotions, said he crushed Duncan in a sales campaign in the city of La Crosse, Wisconsin. Duncan Sr. then telegraphed Flores after this and hired him as his campaign manager. And then Flores worked on and off for Duncan as a campaign manager for the next 5 years. So Duncan definitely knew who Pedro Flores was. Now, you have been patiently waiting to find out how much Duncan paid Flores for the Flores yo-yo trademark. Drum roll, please. The answer is zero. That's right, you heard it, zero. And you heard it here first. Flores had already sold his rights to another company in 1929, who then sold the Flores yo-yo trademark to Duncan in 1930. Flores sold the trademark for $15,000 to his previous partners, and then he lost it all in the stock market craze of 1929, and also he said partying and spending money and stuff like that too. He did love to drink and smoke. And now you know the rest of the story. So I believe Flores regretted deeply selling the trademark for the rest of his life, and there's some actually correspondence suggesting that too. I think we're just starting to scratch the surface on how important Flores was to the yo-yo movement. So more to come, so keep watching future episodes. Now, sometimes I come across images or items that I have no clue on what they are. And I'm going to ask the yo-yo community to reach out and let us know if they have any information. It all kind of goes to that body of information. So let's you guys out there do some detective work. So here's a photo that came out of Malco's book, The One and Only Yo-Yo. Apparently, Duncan used baseball players when he could to help promote yo-yos. I'll say I do know a Hall of Famer. He's named the Hawk, and I think in 1968, he was like the MVP. And he told me that he even posed with some yo-yos at the time. Unfortunately, he didn't have any pictures of it, but he also said that yo-yo players would sometimes just play with yo-yos in the dugout to kind of relax. So my question is, who is this baseball player? Surely there is some baseball card collector or baseball enthusiast out there that will say, oh, I know exactly who that is. So please share. This fellow is holding a box of Duncan Super Yo-Yo Tops. The photo should have been taken after 1956 based on the display box he's holding. So I'm going to hold my breath until somebody lets us know who that guy is. Now, here's another item I would like viewers to comment on. And let me know what the heck this toy is called. A friend sent me this short video from Peru, and they called the toy there a Peruvian yo-yo. However, obviously it's not a yo-yo. So does anybody know what this is called? And if you do, you may win a free alpaca. All right, Dano and I did some trading, and he brought in a couple of interesting yo-yos for trade. So let's see what we did.
I'm here with Dano the Mano again. Dano is one of my favorite traders because he actually comes and trades yo-yos with us. So he brought in some really cool stuff. He got some good yo-yos from up in Canada. So we're going to check those out, and then we'll show you what kind of trade we worked out here. And we also had Sean in the background. Sean, you want to, yeah, there you go. Sean, the yo-yo player, not Sean, the yo-yo talk producer. So anyway, let's take a look at these yo-yos. I'm going to walk over here and maybe you can, well, here, I'm just going to talk and then I'll do a B-roll here of this. So we got a couple cool little yo-yos here. We got this kind of Mickey Mouse face, but it's very cool because it's got these little beads on them. So when you throw the yo-yo, they spin. And this is the first time I've ever seen this yo-yo. It's very cool. So it's, whoop, it goes like this, and the spots, those little beads spin around. So it's a very cool effect. So we're going to do a little research on that. Now this is probably the best thing he brought for trade. This is a yo-yo top, and you will see on the inside it says made in Germany, the German U.S. zone. So that means that it is right after World War II, where the U.S. had military forces in there. You'll remember they divided up Germany into East Germany and West Germany. For a while, they had these different zones, and so this dates this into the late 40s. So very cool top yo-yo. He has two different versions. One of them says Gaudi on it, so we're going to research that a little more. Then a couple of these little pirate yo-yos. These are 10 yo-yos. They're kind of heavy duty. It looks like these are, it looks like French markings on this, so we'll research those a little bit. And this metal disc yo-yo, which feels a lot like weight-wise. If you've seen those Star Wars metal yo-yos, it has the same feel to that. I don't know anything about this. This is probably a series. It has a goalie on the hockey goalie on each side, so I suspect this was some type of series. Here is a very weird-looking ball yo-yo ball. I've never seen this before, so that's kind of cool. And then we've got two Ronald McDonald yo-yos. It's dated 1999, and this is a Canadian version, so hard to find in the United States, and he traded me two, so I have one for trade. And then finally, this spider yo-yo, and yes, that is a real spider. It's called the Creeper Pocket Pros. So I've looked at the thorax of this, and I'm trying to make that into a brown recluse spider, but I just can't do it. I think it's a wolf spider. But anyway, very cool looking yo-yo. It reminds you of the Stinger yo-yo that has the scorpion in it. I believe they quit making those because there was complaints from the animal rights folks. But there was a Thrasher yo-yo with shark's teeth in it. I think there was even a spider yo-yo too. So anyway, these are kind of cool yo-yos if you're into those sort of things. So this is what Dano has traded for. He picked out, of course, one he's been looking at for a long time, this Duncan Dragonfly. This is a clear version. They only made 100 of these. I wound it up with 2, so these are very hard. That's kind of the primo thing. And this orange bird, this is actually a Disney yo-yo. Disney made this when they had the Orange Bird ride down at Walt Disney World. And they had both this tournament shape and then the butterfly shape, but there were 4 different seals. And the interesting thing is there are folks that like to collect old Disney Orange Bird stuff. So sometimes these go off for over $100 on eBay, but sometimes they go really less. So if you want to pick up a really good yo-yo, if you see an Orange Bird coming up for 20, 30 bucks, snap it up because it's a good deal. And then of course we got one of these Lumar yo-yos. This is from a series. This is the soccer yo-yo, and this is in really good shape. This is probably late 60s, early 70s. And then a Chuck E. Cheese tin yo-yo. This is getting kind of dated. I've had that for well over 20 years. That's probably 25 years old, as well as Showbiz Pizza, which is dated 1986. That's a copyright date, but that's probably pretty close to the time they had these yo-yos as well. So that's what we traded for. It was a lot of fun, and I hope that Dano will come back and join us again.
Okay, before I get on with Andre about nationals, that's next month in June, at the end of June, June 21st through the 23rd, I want to comment on a couple of eBay items. First, this is a Big D butterfly. Now, this is a cool yo-yo to have, and somebody should snap this up. And as 11 o'clock this morning, it was still up for sale. If you watch the yo-yo hunting segment I spoke about a little bit earlier that I did, I talked about this. Duncan not only sued Dell for the yo-yo trademark violation, but he also sued Dell and Royal for the butterfly trademark violation. 2 lawsuits in one. What a great day for the lawyers. So we know they lost the defense of the yo-yo trademark, but Duncan was successful in defending the butterfly trademark, which means that Dell and Royal both had to stop making butterfly yo-yos. It's the history, folks, that makes these yo-yos collectible. So that yo-yo is pretty collectible because that has an interesting story behind it, and there are not that many of those. Now, I love character yo-yos, and sometimes they go off for insane prices, which is fine if you live in an asylum. But for me, I just step back and look with awe and wonder why they go off so high. So I just recently found, or I guess I shouldn't say found, I was just going back through some old stuff, and I noticed this Casper yo-yo on card sold for $499 2 years ago. Anybody out there know of a character yo-yo that sold more than this? I'm thinking, and I tried to look it up, and I think I even talked about this on one of the shows. I think a Soupy Sales yo-yo went off even higher than that, but I'm not sure. So if anybody remembers, please refresh my memory on that. But if you know of another character yo-yo that's gone off for over $300-400, let us know. Finally, I want to talk about this chrome chevron Imperial that was on the card that sold for $262. This is considered a rare variation of the chevron Imperials. It's one I covet. Now, it's weird because it's on a fleur-de-lis card, which I think is strange, and I don't understand why. I've only seen these Chevron Imperials, I'm not talking about just the chrome ones, I'm talking about the regular Chevron Imperials on this earlier card, or loose on the display board. And matter of fact, one of these display boards recently sold for almost $200, and it had only 2 yo-yos on it, and they weren't Chevron Imperials, they were Dayglows, so go figure. Okie doke, let's find out why you should go to Nationals this coming June 21st through the 23rd in Philadelphia. We're going to talk about why you should go to the National Yo-Yo Championships in 2024, even if you're just a beginner player. I have with me Andre Boulay, who is a National Yo-Yo Hall of Famer. He is the behind-the-scenes guy in YoYoExpert.com. He also runs the A to Z Learning Center and is the co-director of the National Championships. Andre, I think there's a lot of people out there that think, oh, well, if I'm not a Gentry Stein, I don't really need to go. And that's not true, because there's a lot of fun things you can do at the National Championships besides just being in that super final of the 1A. Comment on just why a beginner might even want to show up to the national championships.
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. So the National Yo-Yo League has had like a very big reboot since COVID hit. In 2019, we actually restructured, and we really focused on trying to rebuild a yo-yo league that was building community. And the National Yo-Yo Contest specifically has kind of been the key event for us trying to do that. We were always big fans of the approach of the original like Orlando World Yo-Yo Contest, and like kind of a convention format with workshops, and also just a lot of space available for people to hang out.
When a beginner goes, the thing is that they'll see all these legends on the internet doing the tricks, people like Gentry Stein, and these guys will be there, and they are the nicest people, and you can get photographs with them. They'll show you how to do basic tricks. I mean, the yo-yo community is great that way for beginners. So the main competition, and we'll talk about that first, and then we'll talk about all the fun sideshows that are going on. The main competition, 1A competition, is what?
So 1A competition, traditional, one-handed yo-yoing, modern yo-yoing. If you just search it, you'll see all the standard string tricks, and like when you see DNA on stage, it's all your complex technical string trick.
2A is?
So 2A is two-handed loops, looping tricks. So the yo-yo is responsive, and you're doing tricks wrapped around your body and looping traditional. It's like the all-time classic yo-yo style that has evolved quite a bit more recently, though. So,
and 3A, which I like to call duplex play, but
I like that. I haven't heard that. That's good. Yeah, duplex play. Two lawn spinning yo-yos doing string tricks is similar to 1A, but you just have 2 of them going at the same time. So,
and then 4A is
off string. So not connected to the string, throw it off. Pretty risky on stage. Lots of bouncing and catching the yo-yo last minute.
And then counterweight play, or 5A.
Yep, or freehand, and it's attached counterweight attached to one end of the string, so you can actually release it, let go, throw it up in the air, and use the counterweight to do tricks that just wouldn't be possible otherwise. So.
And then we have a new addition to the lineup for a national championship. That would be the duo division.
We're really excited about the duos division too, because I think in the past there's always been good opportunities for people to be really creative with their approach to, yo-yo contests. There used to be an artistic performance division, and I think the duos division is a really good mix of everything, where you can come in with traditional tricks, but you pick a partner. And thank you so much to Lucky for bringing this to regionals and nationals this year. But it's an artistically driven performance between 2 people doing yo-yoing together in a way that should be, performative and interesting and fun. And it doesn't have to just be all about how many tricks you can do, though. It could look like a really complicated trick routine, or it could look like a comedy routine, 2 people together. And I think there's a beautiful, angle to that I love. I'm excited to see what people come up with. So. please, yeah, check that one out.
Okay, now let's get into the sideshows, as I like to call them. This is the reason that people that aren't going to be battling on the finals in each of these divisions, this is what's available to them. So let's start with the sports ladder.
Yep. So the sports freestyle has actually been what's kind of taken over that. We're actually still talking about whether or not there's a sports ladder division.
Okay.
Sports freestyle is kind of like the entry point for people to get into freestyle play these days. And that is a 1-minute routine. And we restructured the scoring this year completely too, for all everything, with a much larger emphasis on just allowing people to get up there and have more of a winning routine rather than just to focus on how many tricks they can do on stage.
And this is more tailored towards the more younger player, I presume. You're not going to see Gentry Stein trying to win the sports.
Yeah, I mean, so the real key is that it is age driven. So there's 4 age categories to it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so it's 9 and under, 10 to 12, 13 to 17, or 18 and up. And the key is it's like the best entry point where you've got a decent set of tricks, you know, kind of get the basics down and you want to get on stage. And like you can, you know, it's a 1-minute routine, so it's pretty easy, it's flexible. And there's also like no negative scoring aspects to it. And professional yo-yoing is a negative clicker and there's major deduct which yo-yos. And this one, there's none of that. So it's more just about looking at how you can put a routine together, have fun with the music, do the tricks that you can do really well in a performative way. And that's kind of how to come out on top on that division. So it's kind of like the best entry point to somebody who's more of a casual player, wants a chance to get on stage and kind of get that out of the system in a way.
What about Masters division? Are you going to have that again, or is that going to be melded into that?
So we do also have an over 40s division. That's more of like the championship style division. That's traditional freestyle play as well.
And what is that? That's over 40, you say?
Yeah.
So young
40.
people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Are we going to see you up there this year?
No.
And then
that's like playing when 40-year-olds are like playing with my kids, you know. So
right.
Okay, well, one of the things that I saw that I didn't know was that I really enjoyed watching it, and I might actually consider doing this year, is the Battle Top competition. Tell us a little bit about that.
That was a new addition we threw back in last year. And it's a tradition at the Midwest Regional Yo-Yo Contest that Dave Schulte runs. And so I approached him about trying to help us run that, and that was a blast. You know, everyone, we have spin tops available to buy, and spin tops are, you know, a nice cheap option to get into another skill toy addiction. And yeah, there's a series of different types of tricks, and you can kind of learn them in an afternoon. It's just learning how to basically.
Now, is he going to do a little workshop like I think he did maybe a workshop last year?
Yeah, we're actually, so, you know, people keep an eye on the site. You're going to start seeing over the coming weeks, the workshop schedule will be fully published that we've got on Friday. Right. So the Friday day is dedicated to workshops. There's no preliminaries or anything like that. So people showing up Friday night, opportunity to do workshops. Gentry Stein did like an amazing freestyle running workshop last year that was incredible. We all learned so much.
We will have an induction ceremony for our 3 new Hall of Famers, and then of course for everybody that is in the Hall of Fame, we will get them all on stage, including yourself, and do a little recognition and have some little fun awards for those folks that do show up. We're trying to encourage all our Hall of Famers to come, and it's a great chance for folks to rub elbows with the people that are the reason why we even have a national championship today. So, and then of course we do a trivia contest, which is a lot of fun. Anybody can enter that. We usually have the 15 seconds of fame, which I usually run. I'm still not sure as of this minute that I'm going to be able to attend, because I have the National Underwater Hockey Championships the exact same weekend, and I'm on the same team as my son, so I may be doing that. Tell me about the Pink Slip Challenge.
Yeah, that was a new addition last year, and so basically what it is it's kind of like a trick circle. You bring your best trick, and you bring a yo-yo that you're willing to lose, and you put it up against somebody else willing to lose a yo-yo. and one person walks away with both yo-yos used, and it's crowd reaction. And I think that was one of the most interesting moments in last year's event because
I loved watching it last year. I was
the
like,
hype
boy,
in the
this is
room.
cool.
Yeah, it was
Glad
great.
I was glad there were no fist fights though over who the winner was. So obviously there's a lot of opportunity to buy cutting edge yo-yos there. There were a ton of vendors. If you're a newbie, amazing yo-yos that you can choose from. Who do you know who some of the vendors will be this year? I know Yo-Yo Expert will obviously be there.
Yeah, I mean, Yo-Yo Expert will be there. I mean, Duncan always traditionally has a great booth. I think, I mean, historically in the past regionals that we've had, Good Life has been there, Unparalleled has been there with a great booth.
Yo-Yo
There's a couple
Factory.
others too. Yeah, Yo-Yo Factory was that in did Seattle as well. Enzo is a newer one that also had a booth at Nationals. I expect to have Nationals this year. There's another company called Wild that's fairly new.
A lot of good
So,
stuff to buy. So bring
yeah,
money. Not only can you buy new yo-yos there, but we'll have collectors there doing trading, and we'll
yeah,
have a collector's table set up. Those folks will be bringing their old classic yo-yos, some which are really old, maybe 100 years old, and others maybe just 10 years old. But it's a great way to learn a little bit about the history of the yo-yo and bring your traders, because there's always somebody there that wants to trade. And we're
yep.
kind of designating Saturday as the official trading day. Now, we really never touched on the exact location and the time and where they go to sign up for this. So
Yeah.
give us the locations and time and where we need to go to register.
Yep. So June 21st, it's Friday, to June 23rd, which is Sunday. It's in Philadelphia at the Sheraton Philadelphia downtown, and everything is right there. It's going to have a very similar vibe to contests in the past, where it's like the hotel's connected right to the venue. And from what we understand too, people can hang out late and just enjoy being around people throwing yo-yos. The space is really nice and big and welcoming. The
A
hotel.
ballroom type of space, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Right.
it'll be similar vibe to the past 2 years for people that have come, but it's a nice open ballroom space, lots of room to throw and lots of room to hang out. So
Right. It is the place to be for all the cool people that weekend, unless you're playing underwater hockey. So
there you go.
so anyway, hey, and one thing I want to say is I want to tell everybody to, when you see Andre, thank him and Thad for all the behind the scenes work that they do getting these. You just can't imagine the amount of background labor that's required to set up something like this. So it is for the love of the sport, and we owe them a big debt of gratitude for all that they do for.
Yeah. And I should add too, we actually have an advisory board, and it's fairly new. We did start it in 2020, but we've been adding people to.
All right. Well, like I said, I hope to see everybody there, and
Yeah.
check out the website and sign up.
nationalyoyocontest.com, and then of course too, yoyocontest.com is kind of like our main place where you can see every single contest that's happening in the country, find dates, find registration, where to upload their music last minute, and just connect with people as well. So
Cool.
great. Thanks,
Hey,
Lucky.
thanks a lot, Andre. Appreciate
All right.
you taking the time to do it. So next month, National Yo-Yo Day is happening on June 6th, which is the same night as Yo-Yo Talk. So we'll be doing something special that episode. I don't know what, but we'll be doing something special. So make sure you tune in 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, June 6th. And until then, always remember, you can never have too many yo-yos. This is Doc Lucky signing off until National Yo-Yo Day. See you then.